Hi everyone, I'm Flavia and thank you for watching. Today we are going to mass produce note cards using leftover pieces of cardstock. Like most card makers, I have lots of leftover pieces of cardstock that I keep in a drawer, and once in a while, when this drawer is almost full, I like to make the time to create with these leftover pieces so nothing goes to waste. Before I started recording this video, I spent about 30 minutes cutting my leftover pieces of cardstock into strips in many different sizes. To cut out my cardstock strips, I like to use these metal plates by Simon Says Stamp. If you don't have a set like this, just use your paper trimmer to cut them out. It will definitely be faster and you're still gonna be able to create wonderful note cards. I like to keep my cardstock strips sorted out by color in these acrylic trays that I got from the container store. As you can see, we can easily stack these trays, which is perfect so they don't take a lot of space on my table. Because I will be mass producing, to be more efficient, instead of making one note card at a time, I will break it into different steps and complete one step for all of the note cards at once before moving on to the next step. This way we will save a lot of time. So the first step is to cut enough cardstock strips for all of our note cards. I already did that off camera and I actually cut more than what I needed, and that is so I could have some leftovers. I like having cardstock strips handy since I use them a lot to decorate the flap of my envelopes to make them match the note cards. Once we have our cardstock strips ready, we can start creating panels for the front of our note cards. I am adhering these cardstock strips onto pieces of scrap paper that I cut out to be 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm using liquid adhesive to do that. Another great way of doing this is to use double-sided adhesive sheets. This way, you won't have to worry about any liquid adhesive oozing out. However, I did not have any of that, plus I don't really mind using liquid adhesive. If we happen to have some glue oozing out between the cardstock strips, I will show you later a great tool to remove liquid adhesive from your cardstock without damaging it. And that's why I'm not too worried about that now. There is no right or wrong way of doing this, and you can adhere these pieces any way you like. I prefer adhering these cardstock strips on a diagonal so I don't have to worry about them being perfectly straight. The liquid adhesive that I like to use is the Barely Arts glue, and I like to have a piece of paper towel handy so I can wipe off the excess glue that is oozing out between the cardstock. For some of the panels, I will try to follow a specific pattern, and for others, I will just use whatever color or size of cardstock strip I want without trying to follow a specific order. I will use these panels to create happy birthday note cards because that is what I need. For some reason, I keep on running out of this type of note cards. However, you can use these panels to create note cards for any occasion by simply changing the sentiment. If you are interested in the products that I'm using today, make sure to head over my blog for a complete supply list. I will not list the color of cardstock that I'm using today to cut out these strips because these were scraps that I have been accumulating for months now. I don't really remember the names, but know that most of them are from Recollections, which is a brand of cardstock sold at Michael's Craft Store. Some of these cardstock are heavyweight and some are not, but that doesn't matter because I will adhere these panels to note cards that will be made out of heavyweight cardstock. To make the most out of these cardstock strips, once I am halfway done with a panel, I like to stop to trim off the strips that are hanging out so I can use those same pieces to complete the panel. Because I cut out all of my cardstock strips at once, it took me no time at all to create these panels. Here are all of the panels that I was able to create today. And before we move on to the next step, let me show you the tool that I like to use to remove liquid adhesive that I accidentally got on my cardstock. This is a glue eraser and it works wonderfully. This is perfect for removing dry liquid adhesive from your cardstock without damaging it. I use this eraser all of the time since I prefer using liquid adhesive. I even use it to clean up this black alignment mat. This is a very inexpensive tool and I highly recommend it. You can find it at any craft store, Amazon, and even at the dollar store. Moving on to the next step, we will work on the die cut sentiment for all of these note cards. I will use this birthday sentiment die by Honeybee Stamps. This set comes with 2 shadow dies and a die for the word birthday. Starting with the largest shadow die, I will place it right in the center of each panel and run it through my die cut machine. I will use a piece of pink low-tech tape to hold my metal plate in place. I will keep on repeating this process for all of these panels that I created. Once I have finished cutting a section from the center of each panel, I will move on to the next step, which is to add some interest to these panels by using some piercing metal plates like this. These plates are from different companies and they are perfect for A2 size note cards, which is what I'm going for today. These plates will not cut out the cardstock at all. They will only leave these beautiful piercing or stitching patterns on the cardstock and add just enough interest. If you do not have any metal plates like this, you can definitely skip this step. I will actually have some note card examples without a stitched background, and it really is just a matter of preference. Before I run each panel through my die cut machine, I will add the die cut piece right back in the center, so each note card has a continuous pattern when we are completely done. I am adding this brown mat to my sandwich so I get a deeper impression, but you don't really have to do this. I just like the result better when I add this brown mat. If you don't have a brown mat like this and are interested in trying it, know that you can buy it separately if it didn't come with your die cut machine. It is very inexpensive and it will last you a long time. As I do this, I am keeping all of the panels and die cut pieces in a pile in the same order. And once I'm done, I will go ahead and adhere these panels to A2 size note cards. These note cards are made out of heavyweight white cardstock. Once that step is done, I will die cut all of the shadow pieces and words that I need for all of these note cards. For the largest shadow die, which is the one with piercing patterns, I will use either gold, silver or holographic cardstock. To cut out the second shadow, I will actually use those pieces that I cut out of the center of each panel. This second shadow piece will be adhered on top of either a gold, silver or holographic shadow die cut. Then, on top of these 2 shadow pieces, I will add the word birthday, which I will die cut out of either gold, silver or holographic cardstock to match the first shadow die cut on each note card. So here is a trick for not letting any of your specialty cardstock go to waste. Since I know I will be placing a smaller shadow die cut on top of this golden piece and a big portion of it's not going to show, I will actually cut the word birthday out of the center of this golden shadow die cut instead of using another piece of golden cardstock to cut out this word. Once I stack all of these die cut pieces, the center of the golden shadow die cut will get covered and nobody will ever know. And for the word happy that I will place on top of the word birthday, I will use this metal plate by Creative Expressions since the set by Honeybee Stamps does not come with a metal plate for the word happy. They do offer a stamp set with more sentiments to go with the birthday metal plates, and I have it, but I don't really feel like stamping anything on these panels. That is why I am pairing these 2 metal plates from different companies to create a new sentiment. To be more efficient, I will cut 3 pieces at once: the word happy, the word birthday out of a metallic shadow die cut, and a smaller cardstock strip shadow piece. Again, as I do this, I am making sure to keep all of my die cut pieces sorted out and organized so I don't have to struggle and waste any time looking for what I need later. Once I have enough die cut sentiments and shadow pieces, I can start adhering the sentiment to the center of each panel. As I adhere these cardstock strips die cut piece on top of the metallic die-cut shadow. Notice how it perfectly covers that section in the center where we die-cut the word birthday from. There was definitely no need to waste another piece of specialty cardstock to do that, and the recipient will never know. When I'm working with small die-cut pieces, I like to use a pair of self-lock tweezers to hold these die cuts so my hand doesn't get in the way and I can clearly see if I am positioning the pieces in the right place. When we die cut the word birthday, it doesn't come out in one piece. So to make it easier, I made sure to keep all of the parts for this word sorted out as well. And I also have a tray with all of the dots for the letter I. Here are all of the completed note cards. Some of these panels have a pierced or stitched pattern, and for some I skipped that step. I also added some die-cut elements, such as hearts and stars for some of these note cards as well. To make the stars or hearts glossy, I applied Ranger glossy accents on top of them, except for the ones that I cut out of metallic cardstock. To make each envelope match each note card, I also added some cardstock strips to the flap of the envelope. I ended up with 25, maybe 26 note cards in total, and hopefully this will be enough for the next few months. If you're interested, I will link a video on the top right corner, and I will also have it in the description down below for another video with more card design ideas using cardstock strips. I hope you enjoyed this video and thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you spending this time with me and I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care and see you again soon.